Ladies, let's have a chit chat. So, studies have shown that women who are in a high financial bracket, nice home, nice car, good job, money, the whole bit. Studies have shown that men have a real problem with that. A lot of men have a real problem with that. There's elements of jealousy and envy, and there was a social experiment that was done in which the guys were asked, how do you feel about women making more money than you and being more successful? Oh, we don't have a problem with that. No, I don't have a problem with that. They all said that. The other part of the experiment was they were in a room with interacting with women who were way more successful than them, made more money, etc. And the guys changed their tune. They didn't want to connect with those women. Now, I'm going to tell you what men say the problem is, then I'm going to tell you the truth. Okay? Their excuse is, well, women that are real successful are masculine and they don't know how to follow their partner and let him be the leader and all. It doesn't have jack shit to do with that. They got an attitude like, I don't need no man, bop this and bop that. That's not true. That's not true. I have met people that have so much money. I have been in their home. Okay. I got lost trying to find the bathroom. That's how big their house is. Okay. It was Ashford and Simpson, the singers, Ashford and Simpson. My father had done a job for them, construction job for them, and we were invited to their home. I met Luther Vandross and I met Stephanie Mills and, other people. People who have a lot of money. I also know of a guy in Florida who owns a multitude of car dealerships. So he's got so much money, he can't see straight. And you know what? People who have a ton of money, they never have to tell you that. They never tell you that. Other people will tell, their success story. I've been through that a lot. You know who that person is? No? Oh, they're so and so. They own such and such. Get out of here. Really? People who have a lot of money don't brag about it. They don't have to showboat. They don't have to peacock. They don't have to strut around the room and say, everybody, I need your attention. Check out my sports car outside in case y'all haven't seen it. People who are truly, truly, truly successful, they never tell you. They're very quiet and they're very low key. And women are no different. And there have been stories that I read about where the guy asked the woman, this particular scenario, he asked her, where does she live? And she told him, and his whole face changed. He said, well, you must have a lot of money. How much money do you make? That is not a question that anybody should be asking anyone. You don't ask people what's in their bank account because it is none of your business. If you are planning a future with this person, then you might want to discuss finances or, how do you feel about purchasing a home in the future? How do you feel about relocation? Because you're going to integrate yourself into this person's life. You're planning to get married. But so far as just coming out your neck and asking people deeply personal questions like that, that's inappropriate. Extremely inappropriate. So there's also studies that prove that women are more likely to be entrepreneurs. They are more likely to graduate college. And especially there's a higher instance of Black women graduating from college as opposed to Black men. And a lot of it has to do with what I told you before, and I don't give a shit what nobody thinks. I've seen it my whole life, so I'm not trying to hear it. Most men are narcissistic, as I've said before. Most. I didn't say all, so don't come for me. Don't freaking go there. Most men they're narcissistic. They've had their asses kissed since they were little. I've said that time and time again. The sisters in the family, his sisters, the daughters in the family are trained to be slaves, modern day slaves. And the boys, because they're boys, they could sit on their ass and play video games. Now, is that always the case? No, but it happens a lot. Boys get catered to. As a result, they become narcissistic, and the whole world owes me, even though I don't have $2. If you would stop opening somebody's legs and open a book and get an education, you might be more successful. Oh, snap. So, if you are in a successful financial bracket and dudes trip off of that, my strong suggestion to you would be to only date within your circle. To only date within your circle. I know doctors who have married other doctors. I know of lawyers who have married other lawyers or somebody else that's on a similar financial playing field. This way they don't have to trip because y'all both making money. Okay? If somebody's so simple-minded and so silly in the head that that's going to make him avoid her because, oh, she got more than me. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? And not everybody marries on the same level. I know of a nurse who married a janitor. He was a janitor at her hospital, and they're still together to this day. They've been married for many years. They got 3 grown children. So people don't always marry on their level, but obviously he didn't have a problem marrying somebody that was way out of his financial bracket. He didn't have a problem with that. So anybody who trips off of that is not for you. And when you go out with your colleagues or whatnot, just deal with people that are on your level. Unless you happen to find somebody who finds enough value in you that they are not going to trip off of your paycheck. You know, that's a stupid thing to trip off of. It's really stupid. So you're risking, if you're a silly man, you're going to risk losing probably the best thing that ever happened to you because you're tripping off her salary that you don't make. Dude, come on now. Come on now. But yeah, and don't, one thing that you should never do, and I've talked about this before, if you will get you're a woman and you're going to get an inheritance, keep your mouth shut. Even a dude, don't be telling other people you're going to get an inheritance. You don't. You set yourself up to get robbed when you say the wrong thing and when you talk too much. You set yourself up to get robbed. I came into some money, ba ba ba. There was one guy that did that, and people overheard him in the bar talking. They went to his house. They followed him home. And I guess 2 families live in that house, 2 separate families. Well, they came into the wrong place, and it was the wrong couple, and they thought that they're all connected and tried to rob them, and they weren't the ones that had the money. And the wife tried to escape, and they end up shooting her in the back and everything. All kinds of terrible things happen as a result of you talking too much. You know, people don't need to know that. They don't need to know that you're going to come into some money. They don't need to know that you got a massive promotion on the job and you're going to be making bank, bank, bank. They don't need to know that. And for a lot of people, who do have a lot of money, some of them decide to live a modest lifestyle so that they don't get judged off of being quotation marks, too successful. Because if you're a person of color, we're going to go there today. If you're a person of color, sometimes white people get mad that you have a nice car or that you have a nice home. They're like, oh, I've heard of stories where the person drove their nice car to work and their boss said, well, I must be paying you too much if you could afford a car like that. Mm, mm. And people of color have said on YouTube, if you have a fancy car, don't drive it to work. If you've got your modest car and you've got your fancy car, keep your fancy car at work and drive your modest car. Keep your fancy car at home and drive your modest car to work so that you're not judged, which is totally messed up. But that's what that person's boss said. I must be paying you too much if you could afford that. Wow. So you have men that they got a problem with successful. Not all, so shut up. But a lot of men don't annoy me. A lot of men have a problem with women who are too successful, quotation marks, too successful. And some white people don't like when your car's nicer than them. Like, oh, huh, how could you afford that? I had a best friend who tripped off of me getting uh, a GMC Jimmy back in the day. It wasn't brand new. It was a 99, for God's sakes. Okay, it wasn't freaking new. But she started tripping. Oh, what did that cost? And you know what I do when people ask questions like that? I give them a price range. Oh, they vary from this price to this price. You know why? Because you don't need to know exactly what I paid for that. That's none of your Kool-Aid. And that's a rude question. Now, mind you, we're going to go there. What is she tripping off of me for? At the time, she had a very nice home. She had her and her knucklehead husband. They both had very nice cars. He had a Camaro. She had a freaking Harley Davidson motorcycle. They had two cars, an SUV, a motorcycle, and a really nice home. And you tripping off of my 99 GMC Jimmy? What? And and she said one time when we went to lunch or something, and she said, "Oh, you got a new shirt. I never seen that shirt before. I told you must have hit the lotto," something along those lines. It was crazy. I said, do you know how much this shirt cost me? A couple of dollars. I think it was like $5 at the dollar store. It was a cute little halter top with butterflies on it. You must have hit the lotto. Oh, I sure did. That's why I went to the dollar store. You know, what's more, okay, let's go there. You know what's a lot more important than money and what you own and how much you make? Let's break it down into basics. Okay? Because people are superstitious. I can't say it. All right, let's try that again. Let's get hooked on phonics. People are very superficial and simple-minded. The thing that is the most important ever, okay, is a person who is rich in their spirit. A person who is rich in their spirit. That is more important than who's got what in their bank account. Because some people have a lot of money and they think that they never have to use the bathroom anymore and they don't have to brush their teeth in the morning. They look down their nose at other people. Some people do this. So if you stuck in your house and your house caught on fire, you waiting for that snobby ass person to help you. They're not going to get their clothes dirty. You must have lost your mind up in here. You'll be lucky if they call 911. Whereas the person who's your average Joe might be the first person to run in that building and try to save your life. So it's more important to be rich in your spirit than it is to be rich in your bank account. Because if you are devoid of human emotions and you have no compassion and no empathy and you have no ability to connect to people, your bank account is irrelevant. Mm, irrelevant. And I told you before, this lady, she had some knucklehead in her car. She didn't know he was a Dusty. And she was driving a brand new car and he was in the passenger side. Well, he didn't appreciate that she had a nice car because he couldn't afford it. So while she was driving, he took the steering wheel and he yanked it so that she would lose control of her car. She did not lose control of her car, but she stopped the car and put his ass out on the street, as she should. You could be successful too, but you chase an ass instead of chasing an education. Okay? You're running the streets and getting and following the wrong crowd. Not everybody, but for people that went wayward, you following the wrong crowd. None of those people that's your quotation marks friends, they don't have nothing to offer. They getting petty crime and in and out of jail and this and that, or whatever the case is. You are who you hang with. You know, it is more important to be rich in your spirit. It is more important for you to care about somebody other than yourself. It is more important that you have a relationship with God and that you don't think you're God. Oh, damn. She's hitting on all the marks today. What? All these stupid ass, dusty ass fools talking about, you gotta submit. Bitch, I don't have to submit to your ass. You didn't die on the cross for me. I'm grown, you're grown. Why do you need somebody to submit to you? Because you have no security. You're very insecure with who you are. So you need somebody to bow down to you so that you could feel like you somebody. We're in the year 2025. We ain't submitting to shit. You got that? We can either work as a team or you could kick rocks. Period. Okay? It is more important than be rich in your spirit. I mean, people, I have met somebody before who looked down her nose when I was giving her a compliment. She act like she ain't never used the bathroom. She ain't never pooed. She never peed. She never had to brush her teeth. Never had to use deodorant. She smells like a flower every day. Bitch, please. You puke and poo and everything else that everybody else does. Don't sit here and act like fucking wildflowers come out of your ass instead of you taking it, dropping turds. Don't fucking do that to me. I want to slap your face when you act like that. I wake up with my breath is already minty fresh. Okay, you stay in that delusional world if you want to. Have your parents considered putting you in a psych ward because you sound like you could use, a psych eval? So anyway, your money is irrelevant. Your success is irrelevant. Who are you as a person? I've talked to guys online a long time ago when I had the patience for the bullshit. Anyway, and there were some of them that would try, I work this kind of job and I have this kind of car. And I'm like, but who are you as a person? I always get them off that track. Who are you as a person? When was the last time you did volunteer work for your community? When was the last time you were there for somebody in a time of need? When was the last time you put your needs to the side to help somebody else, even if they just needed you to care for 10 minutes? While you bragging about all these things you have. And I finally hit him with, let me explain something to you. Let me stop you with that right now. I said, I've been in celebrity homes. So if you don't have more than them, I really don't. And frankly, I don't even care if he did have more than them. I said, but I doubt that you have more than the people that I've been inside their homes. That I don't really care about that. That doesn't stop a person from harming you. Okay? That doesn't stop them from psychological abuse or emotional abuse or financial abuse or whatever it may be. Passive aggressiveness, pathological lying. Your money can't save you and make you become a good person. You have to be a good person. And then the success comes later. And hopefully it won't change who you are. Okay? So again, ladies, if dudes are tripping because you are successful and you just want a down to earth man, you don't need a man who's as wealthy as you or more wealthy. You want somebody who's just a decent human being. If none of them appreciate or respect the fact that you are more successful, girl, date within your circle. Date people that are in your financial bracket and leave them dusties alone because ain't nobody got time for all that. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.